Okay.
So it sounds like just us.
Yeah, so the other day when we had our meeting on the housing, that thing was going around the room back and forth,
I shut them off.
and it was going up and down. And I just couldn't see or hear, the hearing was awful. I don't know what happened to it, but
I think it was because there were so many of us on Zoom and then there's only two of us in the room. That it picks up on sound, so whoever's talking, it's gonna aim towards
Well, no, I
that.
think it was all right during our.
The house-
LDC meeting. was
yeah,
during
the
house.
first meeting was fine.
So then it must have been the amount of people talking in this room.
And it looked like the top up there, but I could only see the center.
Mhm.
It was like,
I always shut that off.
Yeah.
And the teachers, it never works, right?
yeah, just awful. I don't know what happened to it. It was first couple times I was on Zoom, it worked great. Ever since this Zoom.
Upgrades.
Get one of those eyes and you will.
Well, that's what they have, they're trying to.
Oh,
But
well, why
that
is it over
room's
there?
too short.
That needs to be in the middle of the table.
Yeah, we just want to be shown one. It's really good.
Anyway, sorry. I would say this after my Zoom experience was last week, was it?
Yeah.
It's best if we all can speak one person at a time,
Mhm.
because it's just horrible up there. You kind of, that's why in the housing meeting, I was like, I have no idea what's, you had a lot of voices there and I was just, but no more Zoom meetings, that's the answer, right? Back and be in the office.
There you go, yeah, everything's gotta be in person. All right, so you want me to start?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll call the annual meeting of the IDA to order. And our first order of business is election of officers. Is there a motion, for someone to serve as, chairman of the Delaware County IDA for 2026?
Make a motion to Wayne continue. If he's interested.
No, don't.
That's not relevant.
Unfortunately, I told that.
I knew Alice is farther down the list, so I'm
You're just coming off.
gonna stay in our lane.
All right, so we have seconds from Noel and Chris. Are there any further nominations for someone to serve as chairman of the IDA? If none, then nominations are closed and so then all in favor of Wayne Oliver to serve as chairman of the IDA for 2026, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carried.
My coach had made it, couldn't I, for both of them?
There we go. Now it's your show.
All right, let's do it. Okay,
I'm no longer in control.
let's continue down the list. Looking for motions for nominations for the vice chair of the Delaware County IDA for 2026.
Yeah, Scott,
Whatever he is.
I'll make that nomination.
I would second that. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so Scott,
Scott, what he gets for missing the meeting.
that's it. You did that to me last year, so I don't feel bad for it. So Scott White will be the vice chair for the IDA for 2026. I'm looking for a motion for nominations for the secretary position for the IDA in 2026.
Which I currently have. I'll nominate myself.
Can we have a second?
For you.
Second, Mike, is that you that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, second, there you go.
Yeah, we do all that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, and,
I nominate.
Chris will be the secretary for the 2026 IDA. Looking for a motion for the treasurer for the IDA for 2026.
Nominate Bruce.
And a strong second for
Second.
that? All in favor?
Aye.
Although I've never done that.
Well, let's see.
So for 2027, Bruce will continue to serve lovingly as our treasurer for the IDA. With that, I believe the election of officials are over for the IDA.
Yeah.
Or
So we can do the others when we
Yeah,
get to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll move on to, IDA policy review. Glenn, will you take us through
Yeah.
that? And I just want to say this, because of the audit that we went through this past year, there were questions regarding these policies, so if you haven't read through them in a while, it's worth it to read through them and make sure you understand what's in there. They're pretty generic policies, but, this should be good to update your knowledge base of those policies if you can.
Was there any actual changes from it?
Yes, so there were, we added a few new, let me just. So for the most part, code of ethics, compensation, retaliatory action, travel policy. Both of our real property acquisition, disposition, procurement, investment. Defense and indemnification, and uniform tax exemption policy. They've been there, no changes, except for Wayne did point out, and this would be reflected, to be reflected if approved in all of the entities, policies, is our travel policy currently has a mileage reimbursement rate of 48.5 cents. I think that was probably from like 2007. The current rate is 72.5 cents. So Wayne suggested that should be updated to the current rate, and I agree. And that was our discussion earlier. You know, we have the policy, we've never ever used it for a reimbursement,
Right.
but if we have it, it should be accurate.
We shouldn't put
A number.
number, we should put the
IRS.
IRS required, or IRS.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Right, but then it changes every year.
That IRS rate, right?
From the town perspective, just mirror the county, but I like that better. where it's-
Except the county mirrors the IRS.
Okay.
Right, but it just changes automatically.
Yep. I like
We
it.
publish it every 6 months.
Right.
So we'll amend it when we approve the policies.
Yep.
Such, okay.
But they don't change it every.
No, but they issue it
Annually, right?
6 months. Every
Every
6
6 months?
Well, I think,
But if the language that the
Well, we
IRS
need a
published
motion to
rate
approve
or something like that.
policies as,
Yeah, so we'll do that under item 3 in our annual resolution, everything that encompasses.
okay.
Yeah, so then, our recapture policy and our internal controls policies were existing policies. Am I getting that? Yes, but they were kind of one-off, so we're moving some policies all in together. So it's just one list of all policy documents. Make it easier for us to review on an annual basis, make sure they stay up to date. Easier for Soph to manage on the website in that it's one packet of policies, everything goes up. And then our conflict of interest policy and our whistleblower policy, those are new ones. That are added per, public authority requirements.
And those look like they're fairly standard.
They're all exactly standard, so I'm gonna tell you, if you wanna make changes, go ahead. Because I looked at like 5 different IDAs, all their policies said the same thing. I copied one, took out Broome County, put in Delaware County, and that was it.
so was there any updates because of the audit or?
No.
Okay, so we need a motion to accept.
Not yet, so that was just the policy review, unless there's any questions.
Just help me with under acquisition condemnation, what does that allow us to do, not do? There's a condemnation, or condemnation, I don't know. In there, the section that allows us to do that, what would that purpose ever be? I'm thinking of the housing thing to be.
Yeah, so, the IDA does have power of condemnation, so that means that if there's a public good associated with it, we do have the right to condemn property. Now, what comes under what comes under a public good, that's, there's specific examples and then there's a huge gray area. It could be, so for example, the IDA's only ever used it once since I've been here. And this was in regards to a sewer and water pipeline we were installing down in Deposit. And despite every effort to negotiate easements, this one landowner is like, look, I understand, I don't oppose, but you have to condemn it, I'm not going to voluntarily do it. So it was a condemnation, but it was a friendly condemnation, if there's such a thing.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so,
I was just curious, knowing the language in the land bank scenario where you have to have certain capabilities, does that fall in line with the condemnation or?
so like as it would relate, so the IDA can condemn property for a public good for other purposes. So let's say there was a piece of property that was, let's just make it as bland as possible. That was like a eyesore absentee landlord, or landowner who was just letting the property deteriorate, wasn't ever gonna do anything with it, wouldn't listen to reasonable purchase offers. The IDA could condemn it if the purpose was to gain control of that property to make it available for a housing development. Yeah, that would be perfectly allowable.
What's the
Yeah.
difference between that and eminent domain?
Same thing, different words.
Different word?
Yeah. You use eminent domain to condemn a property, essentially. Okay, so then with that, you mentioned approvals, we kind of do that under our annual resolution. That is there, it just lists a group of all organizational activities that we're undertaking at this time. No, I need to that, please, sorry. Oh. I can't scroll. What do I feel wrong, Bruce? Oh, there we go, yeah, I like to use that, but anyway, so the actions that are contemplated under the annual resolution are the election of officers that we just did, so that'll ratify that. Then there are the appointment of executive officers of the IDA. For the IDA, we have chief executive officer, chief financial officer, contracting officer, that's related towards property acquisition. Internal controls is related to all other purchases and things, investment officer, procurement officer. Executive director and assistant secretary. In the column on the right is the people who currently hold all those quote unquote titles. And so that would be my, I guess, proposed slate for moving forward. If there's any discussion or comment or question on those.
All right, well, let's do the motion first, and then we can do the discussion.
Okay,
Looking for a motion to approve, looking for a second, and then we'll talk about it.
yeah.
Second,
Approve that.
okay.
Whatever.
And not, let's do questions and comments now. Any concerns with the listing in any way, shape or form?
Okay, and then, so then also we have appointment of our auditing firm, which is Master Manzanero and Scott. We had RFP'd that a number of years ago. I think 4 years ago. So there's. Because we went past the 3-year period, they changed our partner. So we only have a specific partner from that firm who is, I guess, in charge of our audit for a 3-year period. So now we've switched to a different partner is in control of our audit.
Same firm, different partner.
Same firm, different partner, yeah. It is something we should probably look to RFP. Best practice would be to do it this year. Last time we did it, we got one offer, so, we can, but we should do that again
27.
for 27.
What's the RFP? Do we put it in paper or do we reach out to?
We reach out both, put it in the paper and reach out to some in the area.
course.
Just want to make it.
That'll be under Ted's duties. Okay, and then appointment of lead agency counsel, Hudson and Russ. You know, they're the ones who handle, our pilot and, bond agreements, and Carly Wallace does all of our other legal matters. Then, so for bank accounts, Community Bank is our primary bank, per our, treasurer's report, we do have an account as of today with Wayne Bank. But we, when we get to the treasurer's report, I'll talk about it. We're gonna be closing that account. Well, you might as well just explain it now. So we talked about opening up another CD with Sydney Federal Credit Union. They are not willing to, give us a CD, because their risk evaluation team is concerned that because the county, no, because the IDA does receive an annual stipend from Delaware County, that's taxpayer money, and you can't invest taxpayer money in an investment vehicle. And so even though we're like, yeah, that's not where this money comes from, they're like, nope, we don't know. So, so everything's gonna switch to Wayne, and we're gonna close that bank account, roll that in with the money that we're gonna put in the CD. So that's why that's why I excluded them from this, because, you know, as soon as I get a chance to drive over to Oneonta, they're no longer gonna be, you know, part of our banking accounts, they'll be under our investment accounts.
The credit union can, it's up to the municipality. So they're saying they can't.
They said they wouldn't, yeah, Tab had all the we had all the documentation prepared, filled out. They're like, oh, yeah, our risk team said, no, we couldn't do it.
So I didn't even know a CD, an interest bearing CD that's FDIC insured is an investment.
It is.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's interest.
No, it's, yeah, it's insured too. I mean.
It's insured up to.
But so it's savings accounts too.
250,000. But let me follow up with that, because I know that the municipalities can invest in credit unions, but that's their regulation, not the credit unions.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that'll be, I'll talk about that under your financial report there. Cause we'll need a resolution to switch it. Then, let's see, the agency policies that we reviewed. Now we get to our committees. That is, they're in, italics, because that's the current people that are serving on the various committees. Is there any discussion about amending those or keeping those as the same? And then, there's just an administrative matters clause that authorizes, the CEO and CFO to just perform daily duties, you know, to effectuate board things without constantly getting yays or nays on every little item, you know, can we pay the phone bill or, you know, stuff like that. And so, that's everything. Oh, and then there's our meeting schedule. For, the rest of the year, it's the fourth Friday of the month, except for a few minor exceptions. In May, the fourth Friday was gonna be the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, so we bumped it back a week. And then in November, December, for like the last 3 years, we've ended up, you know, combining those into one. So it seems to work for everybody, for convenience and seasonality and stuff like that. So we just put it there again.
It's a light load going into that time anyway.
Yeah,
Is that something you'll send out?
yes, so that'll go on our website and, oh, the meeting
Will you
schedule?
it, or should I put that in weekend? So that's my question.
Oh, yeah, we can send it out.
Okay. Then.
Oh, so yeah, so, yes, we can send out an invite that has everyone there, and you can just click on it and it'll automatically go to your calendar, so there you.
There you go. The height of efficiency.
Well, you're talking about, technology related stuff.
Just like me to schedule these IDA meetings and.
Do it in one group thing and send it out.
there.
Yes,
And so May 29th is correct? You said you were.
yes, May 29th is correct.
Okay, so,
Yeah, because it was gonna be the 22nd.
I still use the little black appointment book, so. And I use pencil, but I have to change it so much.
And so that's everything that's contemplated in the annual resolution.
okay, any last questions, comments, concerns? Anybody trying to jettison off a committee they don't wanna be on? You wanna jettison off the
Listen
list?
to that.
Okay, looking all in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay. We're on to, well, nowhere.
No,
No, yeah. No, we're
more
not.
procedural.
Yep.
So our, performance measures and goals for the, year. So, this is the format they use. It seems a little backwards. You put your goals for 26 before you do your evaluation for 25. But so, our goals are fairly generic in certain areas, broken out under organizational, financial support, and site development, which are the kind of primary entities of, or primary objectives of the IDA. Those are relatively the same. I might have made minor tweaks from last year. And then the self-evaluation, this is items that Lindsay and I discussed about putting in here as to how we would evaluate our performance, the board's performance in 25. And the specific items towards those goals that were completed in 25. And are there any questions or comments relative to those? Or do you want me to just go down through them quickly?
Yeah, why
If
don't we do
everybody
that?
hasn't had a
Why
chance
don't
to
we do
review it. Okay, so under organizational goals. So we brought the IDA website into full ABO compliance. This was, a lot of this stuff was in regards to our comptroller's audit. Developed a new form to document project monitoring requirements for job creation and tax incentives. So, yep, we developed that form, sent it out. Before Christmas, that either that week or the week after, to all the companies that we have outstanding pilot and bond agreements with. Although I guess at this point, we don't have any outstanding bond agreements through the IDA, only pilot agreements. So we sent those out. We've had some questions from businesses they're working on getting them back in. We've been working with Tyler on our action plan for 25 through 30. That was completed. And then just trying to boost our messaging under Facebook and Instagram. That's more economic development as a whole than per se IDA specific. Then under financial support, we divested our IDA programs and or our loan programs and assets from the IDA, transferred them to the LDC. We did enter into 2 pilot agreements for projects of 35.8 million, the creation of 55 new full-time equivalent jobs. And then the IDA facilitated was part of, I don't know, the Delaware Valley Hospital bond issuance, even though that actually came through the Capital Resource Corporation. And then under site development, we did sell or entered into agreements to sell several properties. Closings seem to take a long time. So Sophia presented to me, we haven't had a chance to do much with it. This fall, a format and potential process for developing, a better property availability listing and ways to get support of local realtors. Once we can get through a lot of this end of year stuff and some right now buried with some tourism stuff, we'll be working on getting that up and functioning in 26. We're working with Village of Delhi on their wastewater, so that then, under site development, it's being able to acquire properties, get them ready for development, sell them off, and then also infrastructure. Those are all things that are contemplated under there. So the IDA is funding a study of the Village of Delhi wastewater treatment plant. That the funding that the IDA is using is coming from a grant the IDA received from the county under their ARPA program. The IDA provides staff support for the Delhi Sewage Works Corporation, for which the IDA does get a stipend, a monthly stipend for $1,200 a month.
Is that from the county or who's that?
Sewage Works,
Yeah.
that's part of our operational costs of the Sewage Works Corporation,
The
so
bill.
it gets billed out to the industries. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And, so worked with Town of Davenport on an infrastructure improvement grant. That was so,
Which they received.
which they received. Yes, thank you, Lindsay. Yeah. Yay, so,
That's
yeah.
great.
We're working on infrastructure grant program, we'll talk a little bit more about, and then, Lindsay's big project, working with the Village of Franklin, and the IDA is participating in the wastewater infrastructure side of that project, and she'll have more on that later. So that was kind of, a snapshot of our performance under those. We tried to not throw in every little thing, just give you some. It's a good year. All right, and this is for the public, so they get a sense of the different types of things that we're involved in, and that's the purpose of it, so.
And is this something we need to approve through a
I
motion?
think it would be best to prove it through a motion that you've reviewed it and agreed with the evaluation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, just a comment before we vote on it, in the audit, results and in our corrective actions plan, we had indicated that, a formal presentation of each active project to the IDA board on an annual basis.
Yeah,
We didn't
so.
say, we said end of first quarter. so we
Yeah,
have
but I think
time.
that's still what we're looking for, because, we sent the report out to them and they will complete it. But as part of the report, we've also asked that when prepared, they provide us with their financial statements. So that's probably that's gonna boot that last component probably till like March or April before we receive it. So that's kind of when we'll do that review. And as long as we do it annually, doesn't matter what time of year we do it.
Well, the only thing we did say that on our corrective actions was that by the end of the first quarter, I guess we should have left that a little looser. But
Yeah.
That's a good target.
we're gonna take a huge step in the right direction, so I don't think they'll argue with March, April, May.
Right, exactly. And at the end of the day, they agree that we've been monitoring our projects, but that we just didn't have a document
Right.
to say, here's what like our board goals. We didn't have that document that said, yep, we did it, this is what we found, moving on.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, now we're moving on, right?
Yes, now we can move on.
Looking for an approval of the minutes for December of 2025.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Financial reports.
Okay, Treasurer's report, the only thing to note is that we are committing $500,000 to a Wayne Bank CD. And that the Bank of Cooperstown savings account, that amount will be rolled into that, so it'll actually be a $541,000 change CD with them. It has our current CDs that we hold with Community Bank. And then total funds available. Other than that, just one other note, the amount due to Sewage Works Corp., that was just paid this week. So we just processed that check. So, and that was related to a substantial repair. I can talk more about it under Sewage Works Corp., but that's all good.
Do you have any idea on the CD for Wayne Bank? The percentage on it?
Yes, the rate was slightly higher than, so when we looked at this in November.
Yep.
I think the board said, hey, there might be better rates out there than Community. And so we're like, okay, but those are ongoing, so we're gonna start a new, so we'll have 3 CDs. And they were like a point or two higher, or like a tenth of a point or two
Yeah.
higher. So yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know what it was. Like, I think,
12 months?
Wayne Bank will be, so Sydney Federal Credit Union was gonna be 9 months. Yeah, and for Wayne Bank, I'm not sure whether it was, I think it was gonna be 6 months.
7 maybe, they have a promo rate at 7.
Yes, it was what their promo rate was.
Okay, so it's somewhere between 3.7 and 4.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's something we would
See a lot
roll.
of risk with getting us a CD there.
Yeah.
So, but, well, that's a good point though, like, because you're insured up to 250, we're investing $500,000.
Right.
It's part of registration per bank, but it.
Right.
I know, that's what I was just gonna say, so when you're,
Split it.
But at different institutions,
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah,
because it's aggregate.
you'd think nothing is ever gonna happen like that until it does.
That's your point.
And then everybody starts going like this,
We used to invest 249,000 in multiple different institutions.
All right, well,
Probably a good idea.
I'll talk about that with Tabitha and about breaking it into smaller amounts.
The plan is to,
normally, when you do more than 150,000, you get an at-risk group to cover the insured. I mean,
yeah, you can see if this bank has the overage coverage,
Yeah,
yeah, because that is a thing.
so that you get the better rate. You just, part of it's insured through the bank and then part of it's insured through the rest.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
know the credit union, the top tier is 100, to get the better rate. It's probably similar for the other institutions.
okay, so we'll confirm about the overage coverage and then take it from there about whether we need to break them down into smaller, spread it around more. So that's the IDA treasurer's report, LDC treasurer report. Just seeing here, we do have an outstanding loan approval, under IRP 2 for Roxbury Mountain Maple. That's why the balance and the lending balance are slightly different. All of our payments are for the year are done, well, for 26. So we won't have any more payments on our loans until September. So we're all good there. So I don't necessarily have any comments. Lindsay's a little concerned that our lending balance is a little low.
I'm not concerned at all, actually.
Well, she's noticed that it's a little low, but she. Yeah, well, she's,
I'm drilling down.
yes, she is okay with the fact that we may have to tighten up some things a little bit. And we can talk more about that under interest rates. And also. It's kind of, this is kind of a discussion for the board. I feel, and that Lindsay agrees, that we spend enough time on small low interest loans. And that there's other activities that we could move into if we weren't always so buried in
Minutia.
lending things, because trying to provide the quality of information that the board is looking for with the people that we get is a time challenge for Lindsay, and it diverts from a lot of things. And so, just as an example, so with all of our lending activities, this is from Lindsay's notes, I'm doing it from memory, so correct me if I'm wrong. So in 25, we made 18 loans of just over 1.7 million. About encouraged 12 point something 8 million of new investment, created 70 new jobs. Great. That's like one project though, so we have staff devoting, 70% of their work time on what represents one good economic development project, you know what I mean? And so we don't ever make much headway in terms of site development, because we're always pulled back to this. So
And it's not that we don't wanna support.
we want to continue it, but we think we're at the level we should be.
Yeah,
So we're not gonna chase more money and increase our loan portfolio, go to the next, unless the board disagrees.
So I think at one point, a year ago, 2 years ago, we talked about our average loans is 15 to 18 on an annual basis.
Yeah.
We would stay in that neighborhood.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna keep, so what our loan portfolio is now, we think for now that's fine. If the board says, no, we're missing things, there's more small businesses needing help at our current staffing level, I think this is where we're gonna stay. If we wanna go beyond that, then we're gonna have to talk about, and not that it's a bad thing, but then that's the next step. Okay, then we're gonna need to expand.
Okay, one of the ways of maintaining or keeping it balanced there is going back to the issue we had before where people's applications were incomplete and Lindsay was chasing them around everywhere. So we need to enforce that stricter.
Yeah, we're taking all that stuff.
We don't go for it.
that's kind of where this stemmed from, was that I was supposed to have 3 loans this month and all 3 of them were not prepared, and I just blatantly said that, like, if you're not prepared, then I can't bring this to the board. That was just.
That's exactly the right
That's
answer.
just what happened, so,
Exactly the right
we just.
Because if she keeps doing the work for all of these people, then
Yeah.
they're not gonna own their own business, and then their
Right.
success rate of actually paying these loans back
Right.
gets lower and lower. Like, they don't take us seriously, they don't take the money seriously. And then it's just like it's just like a catch-22 of like, people then coming to us and then gaslighting us. Being like, you don't know enough, we're gonna go over your heads, you're not doing enough for me, and it's, excuse my language, it sucks.
Yeah, but
All the way around
if
for her.
that's not your job to
Right.
do it for them.
Right.
They can go anywhere.
Right, that's my own boundary, but also at the same time, there's just not, I mean, I think it'll make sense, and we can get into this more when we read the interest rates and you guys discuss how you wanna go about that, but I mean, that's where
That's where we
That's where we're
think
headed.
as an organization we're headed.
Yeah.
That our portfolio for now is our portfolio.
It's your boundary, but it's really the board's boundary, so
Yeah.
don't feel free to blame us.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Make us the bad guys when you
Yeah.
tell them, sorry.
You're the face of the IDA, but you say, I'm sorry, the board won't accept this.
And like, I feel okay saying that, but also at the same time, there's just those people that feel like they're entitled, yeah, and there's a lot of those people.
And they don't have the
the-
education,
Right, and the more that we work
they
with
don't have the business acumen.
these people, the more they feel, oh, we can just run to this department and they'll do everything for us, and that's where we're drawing the line, so.
And it's seen as free money. So we also need to work on that education piece, because I mean, I'm not the type of like part of this like completely, but I'm just People come and they're like, where can I get that free money that so and
I
so
think
got
that's gonna
for
be one
whatever
of the-
rate for.
At
Whatever,
least
like this is,
with where our portfolio is.
Yeah, you could wind up averaging
I
one a
don't know,
month,
sorry.
that's what we were
it's just-
targeting,
Mhm.
15 to 18.
I wanna
I
fund
don't
10
think we-
good projects.
I don't think we have the staff 15. to
Right,
18.
yeah.
But part of the
But they
solution,
should get, if they have a non-cooperative borrower, and they're not getting the stuff, I would think that a letter is gonna come from him telling them that yours has been set aside because you've failed to give us the information we need to make a decision. When you give us the rest of the information, right, it can't come from her, it's gotta come from the boss. And that's it, because they're gonna try to go over her head first thing.
Oh, that's the first thing they try.
Yeah.
And then I wanna talk to Glenn now, and that's not
There you go.
Or just
right?
go to a bank.
right.
Right.
But
Exactly.
that's what they like to do, they like to rate shop, and then that's where we get tripped, because we want to be helpful, but we also can't compete, so we're tripping over our own butt 2 feet.
Well, that's the thing too.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
that's the reason for the declination letter.
Yes.
Right, well, they don't,
Right, that's the
We're the-
reason.
we're the
If you
stop
have a
after the bank.
declination letter means the bank had a shot at it.
Yes.
Now you're not competing.
On the-
If you eliminate the letter, now you are
Think
competing.
about that too, because they had, in order to be denied, or, well, they had to go with all kinds of information in the bank, right? So that should be easy for them if it is the second stop, because it was already
They
out.
have it.
On the other side of that, Glenn, looking at it from the customer side, the marketing side, is the market bigger than 15 to 18? Is it smaller, or it could be 35? I don't know the answer to that. I don't have a good feel for it, but how many do we actually turn away? I shouldn't say, that. How many do we actually not vote on that come to you because of resources? I guess that's I'll say the market side of it. Where is that the demand?
The interesting thing is, there was a comment at that meeting, that Jerry Russia said. Chris and I were at the meeting, he goes, well, the guys are here from the IDA, but, you know, there's 18 other towns. We were talking in the car on the way up, I go, yeah, but there's only like 5 towns that really count. The others aren't getting the money. So.
Yeah, we
you're
don't
not
have any
talking about
loans
an
in
entire
Easterville or
30,
Tompkins
19
or
towns, And everybody
No,
gets
maybe
a
we can
project.
get more.
So if there's 12 projects in a year, they're coming out of 6 towns.
Probably, yes.
And that would be interesting to actually do sometime, is figure
Or
out,
geography.
yeah, where the loans are now, where they're in.
what a great segue to a tool that we have access to.
Does it have population?
Yeah,
Okay. So I mean, some of it.
So that's a teaser for a discussion we'll get
Later.
to under Sophia's.
Yes.
so going back,
Yes.
that was a great lead line for
Yeah.
marketing.
I think somebody.
We'll come back to it.
Now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so now you're gonna be paying attention.
Glenn, we've got,
Yeah, so let's move on.
yeah, so,
Okay.
on
So
the
that's the treasurer's report, then on our loan report,
I'd love to talk about all that other stuff all day long, but it's.
Yeah. so under our loan report, and we will make an amendment to our housekeeping resolution under the LDC to reflect this. We are now working with an attorney, we've just kind of getting set up with them. I sent them a summary of information of who we're going after first. They are reviewing it to make sure they have no conflicts, or working with an attorney with Coughlin and Gearhart now. So they're just gonna do, yeah, a conflicts search. Under the IDA loan report, 5, 6, and 7 are in that first bunch of action items we are sending to them. They bring that yeah. Didn't be folder. So our goals with the attorney, on 5 is, you know, to the hilt, whatever's necessary, we're gonna pursue full action. 6 and 7, we just wanna come to a reasonable settlement. That's the direction I gave to the attorney on those 3. Then, under the LDC, number 10, is on our initial list, and that's, move right to full foreclosure. They've received final default, we're ready to move forward right away. 29 and 30, they're not gonna make this round, but we're gonna continue to work with them.
Is this 29 one something maybe we should discuss the Compass coaching regarding, or?
Yeah, why don't you segue into that just very quickly?
Okay, so, we met with, Compass Coaching, they're out of Margaretville this past week, I think. And basically they offer services very similar to ours, more one-on-one, very diligent. Have the ability to, help set up LLCs, navigate financials, work with business plans. Essentially, it would be something for our very beginner people that, again, going back to our loans that, you know, ideally going forward, we're funding projects that are, good and are beneficial to the community, not just the business owner. But this opportunity for the Compass coaching, I think would open a lot of doors to coaching sessions for these business owners. So, I mean, there is a price attached to it, et cetera, but it's just something to think about for the future because, you know, like 29 and 49, you know, those
No,
are,
not 49.
yeah, I think that if she, okay. She's done it, but if prior to this, we had the time and she wanted to respond, then we could move on to, this is how we could help you benefit from this class. So that's that.
And the cost of that ballpark, are they?
3 months, I think it was
Like
$250.
$150 a session, minimum 3-month requirement.
Yeah,
And then there's ancillary services on the side,
yeah, but like for a one-on-one hour, I think it's like $200 or something.
$150.
There were other, I don't have the notes, but
Sorry.
yeah, there were options, some as low as $75 if it was like
Just like
just
navigating.
check-in type
Yeah.
of things. Yeah,
Is that something that if they can pay up front, they would pay? Or be rolled into the finance?
so I think as we check this out, it may be something that we would recommend upfronting the cost, adding it to the loan balance.
Well, we're protecting them.
And that way we're protecting our loan, we're protecting our
That makes
assets.
complete sense to me.
And you're giving that business a better chance of being
That's
successful.
Yeah,
correct.
so they'll get it for free as far as they're
Right.
concerned, and at the end, 4 years down the road, they pay one more monthly loan payment, you know, just, yeah.
Where are they at?
Margaretville.
Okay, so 29 and 30, we're working through, 29, 30, 37, 40. Those are ones that we feel we can work with directly, at least at this point. 44, you know, it's 3 months now, so that's 90 days, so that is a little concerning. But I've spoken to them and I'm not as concerned. They're coming into, honestly, they're excited with the snow because now they're finally coming into snowmobile season and that'll be great for them.
Sure will.
Number 49 is on the attorney's list for full action, so is 61. 80 is we're gonna work with, and Tab and I need to have a discussion on 89. We have the first mortgage, it's for sale, but they're still just, I feel they're sandbagging Tabitha a little bit, so I may end up throwing them right into this first group too, and just, so it's a quick and easy one.
Yes, I don't
It's
mess.
just be like, yeah, you've had offers,
Yep.
take it, because otherwise we'll take it and we'll sell it.
Condemnation.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's already listed for sale. The
I know,
property
but
is.
close it down and then Delaware.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's where we're headed with, the loan report, so we're hoping, we can cut down our problematic loans. In half. And be able to have the time to work out with.
Are there some of these, Glenn, that you have some confidence that just an attorney's contact would be enough to move them forward? Or are there all gonna be battles?
I think, all right, let me go back to the numbers. Um. I think number 5 under the IDA is gonna be a battle, just because that's just such a bizarre one, we've talked about that before. Where the second mortgage holder, the first mortgage holder is foreclosing. But some third party believes that they have legally acquired the debt of the,
Isn't that our friend, the attorney there?
yeah. The morons out of Grand Gorge.
Yeah.
And so that was just, so I think that's just gonna be messy because it's weird. I think 10 will be because they've absolutely refused all communication. Yeah, everything that's going,
49.
everything that's going to the attorney is gonna be a battle.
Okay.
Everything going to them is gonna be a battle.
Right.
The ones we think we can handle, at least for now, we're keeping.
And that's why they're going through the attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's.
But yeah, I don't, there may be, oh yeah, so, yeah, more to your point, so, what's that? Sam Blakely. So,
Let's say Ian Lamar's too nice a guy.
number 37, number 40, number 80, yeah, I think a letter from an attorney might
Might be
just
enough,
be the
yeah,
kick in
that's-
the ass, they need to be like, okay,
Yeah.
alright, I've taken this as far as I can, I gotta
And
come
then
back.
just to say this, and then we move on, is some of them, if the battle's too long, and obviously some of these balances are quite high, so it wouldn't necessarily be the case, but we should be willing to settle versus pay an
Yes.
attorney if.
Yes.
And we've done that.
Yeah,
We're not paying them hourly, they're getting a percentage of the recovery, right?
We are hoping to schedule a call either today or Monday to finalize what the payment structure would be.
This should definitely be tied to recovery, at least partially,
Right.
yeah. That puts their interest in ours.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the update on so those are the financials, then also in your packet for under financials. Was the Delhi Sewer Works Corporation end of year profit and loss and balance statement. Any questions in that regard?
we're gonna talk more of that anyway. I mean,
Yeah, do you wanna just do that? Did I have that on the? I did put it on, no, so currently, the IDA is the sole shareholder of the Delhi Sewer Corporation. And that's why I'm presenting the financials to the board. The Delhi Sewage Works Corporation has a 3-member board. Comprised of myself as president, Florida as an IDA rep, and Matt Kristen, formerly designated as the town of Delhi rep. He is no longer a town of Delhi board member. Wayne and I were talking about that. It might be a good idea to see if the board of the Sewer Works Corporation was interested in essentially abdicating to the IDA and recommending that the board of directors for the IDA become the board of directors for the Delhi Sewer Works Corporation. And I know all 3 of those board members would agree to that.
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat, and it's really whether the IDA board wants to be the board of directors of Delaware Sewer Works. So at one point it was, oh, let's separate the IDA from Delhi Sewage Works Corporation. But the IDA is still the sole shareholder, so it doesn't matter. We're still, tied
And
to it.
we're responsible.
And we're responsible
We're the
for it,
facto
so
board.
we might as well have the board involved in. If we're responsible, we might as well, this board might as well have, the decision making and authority over that.
Which we're gonna do anyway.
Yeah, which we're gonna do anyway.
So, yeah,
Who handles the solar?
I do.
Okay. So is that something we can push off to the users?
Oh, no,
To make sure
no,
that's compliant?
we fully complied with that aspect of the consent order back in 2021.
So you
It's
wanna
just-
talk to
yeah.
us now?
We were segue right into it. I was hoping we could actually
Yeah, no,
cross something off the agenda and move down that, but nope, okay.
we're on track, we'll talk. Let's vote on the treasury report.
Let's vote on the treasurer's report.
Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report for January? So move the second,
Treasurer's,
please.
all the financial.
All the financials, T and L reports. A second, okay? All in favor? Aye. Now we'll segue into the Delhi Sewer Works Corporation.
Okay, so I was thinking, this is a legal issue, maybe we should go
Probably right.
into executive
Probably
session.
right.
Correct, yeah.
Can I get a motion to go
Do we have any
into
other?
executive session?
No, go ahead.
I don't think we do.
I'll make the motion, go ahead.
Okay. To discuss legal matters, will actually be taken. A second, please.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Fresh off the press.
Motion to come out of executive session,
So moved.
second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, on we go to the updates, then we'll.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna do the nickel version on the
Okay.
updates. So business reporting, similar to how we asked our pilot customers to provide end of year reports, we did the same thing for our loan reports. They're coming into Tabitha, she's gonna
Organize them as such.
aggregate them and we'll figure out how to report it to the board. We're just starting to receive them, so that was just there. Micro enterprise,
Micro enterprise, we're working with WCCRC. We did 2 informational sessions. Within both sessions, we probably had somewhere between 60 and 75 people, both in person and on Zoom. The training entrepreneurial classes, which are mandatory, will start February 17th. The training application and check process is currently still open. That will be open until the 17th. If there's any interest in that, all that information can be found on our website, or they can contact me directly. Go right to Restore?
Yep.
Okay, Restore, we're still working with Ben Dates, at Headwater Engineering as well as JHA, to find the best possible solution. We received an email this morning stating that, pretty much progress is at a halt right now due to the weather, and needing clear surface to get tests and, accurate readings for the easements. We are also meeting with one of the building owners on Monday to finalize budgets and scope of work. Also working with the second building owner, Kevin Green,
yeah, go right into it.
who is working with CWC to obtain funding and potentially could come to us next month for a backstop. Explain that or no?
Sure,
Um,
keep going.
meaning just that, essentially he needs a line of credit.
So,
to Fulfill CWC's request.
yeah, so his 10% equity requirement was CWC. He believes he's not gonna need the support, but he needs to prove it to CWC. He may ask us to provide essentially would be a line of credit for up to $118,000 that he could draw from if he needed to prove his equity requirement, or if he actually needed was short on some cash flow, because he's getting a loan from CWC, but it's gonna be a drawdown process from them and then reimbursed from the state at the end. So there's gonna be cash flow issues,
It's the support cash funds,
essentially, yes.
bridge loan.
Essentially, it'd be a bridge loan, yeah. So, we're not sure, we're hoping not to go that route. But we may have to be determined by the next meeting.
Right.
Yep.
That's all the updates we have on that.
Yeah. Okay, sales contract,
Quick, I'm thinking Franklin, I'm thinking CWC, different.
it's a watershed town. Yep.
Good.
You. Status of sale, yeah.
The project's in the village, that's not part of the watershed.
No, but it's in any location within a watershed. So the village of Sydney is eligible for CWC funding because they have that little tiny corner. Yeah, right,
Al,
Thank
thank you.
yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely,
Look at this project in Franklin, it's so important,
yeah, that's a good one.
it's unbelievable.
Okay, status of sales contracts, 12 Winkler Road, that is converting our lease to own thing into just a note and mortgage. The IDA would be holding paper, that I'm signing my side of the documents, today at 2 o'clock. And it'll be formally closed, February 4th. So that's that one, that's for this, that's the sale of 12 Winkler Road to Leap Machinery, for, a dollar amount. That the IDA is holding paper on. Tiberio, there's waiting on some stuff there, then the other update is Tiberio. Sheffield Estates, title work is completed on that and they're moving to loan documents.
Beautiful.
So the intent is to definitely close in February.
What is
On
the
that.
weird thing I keep reading about in, Facebook or Walton Reporter about somebody named Talbert was supposed to buy the property first or something?
Oh, Katie Taggart,
Taggart.
yes, she made a presentation to the IDA board. She made a summary. She expressed her interest in purchasing the property. For a purpose, not really, I wouldn't call it a plan. The IDA board at the time denied because they were pursuing what the IDA was more interested in was industrial and commercial development. She was residential development. Because she apparently never hears the word no and did not like it and has held a grudge ever since. So that's the nickel version.
I called her based on our conversation, she has not called, this was weeks and months ago probably.
Yeah, but-
I got a call back, so.
The situation here is. Person purchasing wants to do a housing development, but that's not a guarantee, because if he doesn't get the deed restrictions changed by the state. Then he's gotta put in economic development, he's gonna have to do something different than what he plans. The other proposals didn't have that in there, it was just the trailer park, period. But. Mobile home trailer are all.
Modular would be better.
So, so that's where we stand there. Nothing on the 135 sales contract. That's been expired by like 3 months now. And I've tried and had no contact.
Do we need to discuss Tiberio further?
No.
Do you have more, so on that. Whatever number, we'll call it the meat packing facility in Walton, discussion. We had said that by February, if we didn't have something done.
We would relist the project.
We relist the project.
Yes,
I wanna make sure that we're still on track for that.
I have no issue with that. He says,
Is that next to the Somali daycare?
Do we need to do an executive
Yeah.
session? Okay. Do we have a motion to go into executive session to discuss a contractual?
Yes, it's contractual issue.
Issue with no action to be taken.
So moved.
Second, All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to come out of executive session,
I move.
second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. We are on to the housing infrastructure
Yeah,
grant.
just gonna mention, that's a grant that's out now, letter of intent due any, at any time. Applications due by April 1st. I'm working with, a housing development project here in the village of Delhi. So maximum grant you can apply for is up to $1 million. They cover 50% of the costs associated with improvements to, public infrastructure. And so, working with this project in Delhi, they are not going to use the full amount of grant funding. You can marry multiple projects. The village of Walton has expressed interest. And that was like over the holidays, and when I'm like, yeah, schedule a meeting, let's talk, and I haven't heard back. So I have to follow up with the village of Walton again. That could be potentially revolving around the future development of Sheffield Estates. And also they've got that resort project up behind.
Yep.
Isn't there some infrastructure related stuff that's needed there?
Yeah, because we're gonna attach to the building.
Yeah. So, it could be including those components that would be.
Is that, I don't know how far that is along, but the Phoebe Lane connection up there,
Yeah, that's the project we're
That's the
talking
one,
about,
okay,
yeah. Pine Hill Terrace, Lynn? Is that it? Yeah,
okay,
Pine Hill Terrace,
good.
Could it be site prep or is it strictly infrastructure?
strictly infrastructure, yes. And we've gone through a couple meetings, still waiting on some feedback from Steph, but, yeah. So, but they'll like NYSEG lines or things like that, sewer, water, obviously, if there's street upgrades or sidewalks or.
Private sewer treatment.
Even if it can be on property of any type, as long as the infrastructure is owned and maintained by a municipality, or they'll throw in the utilities as that. But it could also be, let's say you were tying into public infrastructure and you needed a pump station to pump up to it, that pump station is eligible. Not the line,
Right.
but the pump station.
Which is
So,
my
It's
share.
like anything
Yeah.
else that goes through.
Does this fit Delaware County sewer system at all?
Yeah,
Sewer
so if you're going for non-housing related, the maximum grant is $500,000. So,
Unfortunately, that's not.
but
this
technically,
valley.
no, it would not, because Delhi Sewage Work is not a public entity.
Right.
It is a private corporation.
Well, if you're looking for
Which
leftover.
Private for-profit
Probably
corporation, even though we don't make a profit, but that's.
But if you have money left over and no place to put it, we may in Sydney have a project.
Yeah, there's something for your housing project there?
Yep.
All right, yeah, so, if you could,
You need 3 million
The
to
condos
fill
there.
the water.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a big cost.
No, it's.
Well, still for a weather station is on the back like the water in Cook's Wall.
That's not our only project, it's.
Easy to get along with.
yeah.
We're against the clock. Anything
Okay,
else on
no,
that?
that's it, but yes, so have somebody call me or set up a meeting.
Yeah.
Anytime next week.
Tourism and ag.
I don't do much.
That's not true. All right, so tourism update, nickel version. We have contracted with a new marketing agency for Delaware County Tourism. Austrian agency, they're based all around the country, but, home base is Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I've been spending a ton of time onboarding their team of 40+ folks to work with me to bring our brand for the county to a whole new level. Giving us data about our audiences and just how we can better support the visitor economy. Not just looking at a couple villages that people are most familiar with on a local team, but looking at the county as a whole, looking at, Hancock, Sydney, Roxbury, Plattekill, Margaretville, Parkville, Downsville, just really drilling down with marketing data and just fueling our strategy for the next couple of years. Reinforcing our infrastructure for our visitor economy, again, updating our website. People no longer call travel agents, they book directly off of Instagram, Facebook, from ads. So we're just trying to really dial in on how people are making those decisions and honing our funnels so we can help our local businesses. Placer AI. So this is a company that does mobile information analysis. Basically, they share location data that has been scrubbed clean of private information and help show us visitor patterns, travel patterns, foot traffic, where people are shopping, where they're staying, how long they're spending in each location, and the amount of, to an extent, it sounds a little creepy, but also how much they're spending and where they're spending. This primarily is like the data focus is on chains, just because larger chains tend to have these service agreements with providers that are then able to pull this data. But we are looking at ways to use this platform to identify infrastructure needs and also new development opportunities in Delaware County for businesses. Because we can go in and create what's called and look at void analysis, right, or leakage reports, and figure out where businesses would best fit in different areas. I have a lot of great sample reports. I think just for the sake of time, I'll just email them out after this meeting so you can take a look. And if you have any questions or ideas for how we might be able to use this data, it's super powerful. It was originally developed to be used by land developers to identify opportunities. I'm using it right now for tourism, just to drill down onto our visitor ordinance, like I said, how much time they're spending here, why they came here, and then how much they're spending in terms of dollars. It's been really awesome. It's powerful. Once I have these synthesized reports, I will share them. But if you have any questions, just let me know. Moving on to Website, keeping it under 5 minutes, I promise. Okay, so Website, Irish-based company that we partnered with through New York State Tourism Industry Association. They received a grant through ESD. We took advantage of the opportunity, and what Website does is they analyze the digital footprints of our local businesses and operators. And what they do, it's actually super simple, but incredibly impactful. They look at, through an assessment and through interviews with our business owners, they look at where there are, they give them an actionable plan forward. So rather than be like, hey, you know, like I own my, you know, kayaking outfitter business and I'm one person, but I want to market like Hilton International, like the hotel chain, that's not possible. They help them elevate their brand, which I'm hoping the rising tide will bring all ships up. It's been quite a process getting everyone involved, but now that the majority of these businesses are in it, the feedback has been incredible. They're all very excited and appreciative to have the opportunity to have professionals work with.
And how many businesses?
We started with 25. We had a little drop off, so we have 22 participating, and now they're in the stage of working with different subject matter experts based on what strategy was provided to them through Website. So you know, we have distilleries working on their online stores and how to book tasting room tickets, and then we have on the other side like a fly fishing outfitter working on a booking system online, so they don't have to spend all their time on the phone. People can just book online, and other streamlining opportunities for, you know, like events, just what makes the most sense for them. So a lot of folks just assume, hey, you know, for example, for search, like, you know, might think, you know, Google's the best thing for me, but that might just be what we know and is immediately in our face. Website's really good at, you know, showing you what products are actually best developed for your business rather than just the one that's immediately right there. So anyway, moving on to the next thing. Every week on Thursday mornings at 7:52 a.m. I'm on WDLA with Ciliberti and Friends doing a news spot. So if there's anything that you think would be relevant to share, I have about 2 minutes to talk about all things Delaware County. It's been pretty great so far. And doing a lot of drive backs to just, you know, the tourism website and to the economic development website, but open to ideas because I think it's a really great free opportunity, to show the community what we can.
Yeah.
Moving on to my last bullet point, sorry, getting there, just looking ahead to development projects and ideas for 2026 and beyond. A few things have come across my desk just in terms of like tourism opportunities, Noel already mentioned, one of them, with lodging opportunities, that's definitely something we're going after, so if you have any leads for folks looking at developing lodging, we need it desperately in this county. Next, Hideout, if you're all familiar, Hideout property, 732 acres is for sale. Adjacent to Bel Air, and there is a potential opportunity there. I know this is an older conversation, but wanted to discuss this with the board and how, and if we'd be interested in being a part of moving this plan forward. If you would consider supporting that, I would love to go after it, but if, you know, we have.
The whole ski area.
Yes, and just how, you know, there's properties in Delaware County that could be developed to contribute to that whole thing, that whole, not thing, that's not the right word, but that whole attraction that is Bel Air, and how can a portion of that maybe be a part in Delaware County, so there's an opportunity, I mean, this sounds greedy, but in terms of sales tax and occupancy tax, and then 70% of Bel Air's employees live in Delaware County. So it's like, also, how do we build on that and and then, you know, the overflow supporting the villages of Fleischman's, Artville, and further out, so.
And you envision our support would be.
I'm not
envision how-
100% sure, but you know, just like, and I think maybe this would be an executive
Yes, if it would
session discussion.
be of the realm of, if it was given to us, would we take the land?
You sure you won't be outbid by some of our cousins and Bushmans?
That's possible.
Used to be, there were several large families. Wealthy families in Kingston have owned that thing over the years.
Right, and that family, one of those families has that land for sale now. And so there's different groups and or entities that would like to keep it or take it. I don't wanna call it public, but like have it be a part of the ski area so that it can, you know, be utilized.
Unaffiliated part of the shoot.
Yeah, so anyway, more to come on that. I just wanted. I just wanted to bring it, so it's like, if I come back, you know, I don't know, in 3 months, 6 months, a year, be like. So remember that conversation we had? Okay. So, and then to that extent, just moving on, sorry, I'm over 5 minutes now. But there's a few other properties in terms of possible development. I'm not gonna say exact names, but in areas like Hancock, Stanford, Courtright, parcels that have, you know, are owned by different entities that are available for sale and or aren't quite listed, but could be potential for development for outdoor recreational opportunities / tourism. Some of these parcels need assistance in having their infrastructure brought up. Again, not asking to pay for them, but as a discussion down the line, if there is a project that is presented, something that you would be willing and open to hearing about. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm gonna leave that there. I don't mean to be cryptic, but I don't like, you know, talking about the eggs and chickens before they hatch, so. Thanks for your
So
time.
your study will tell us. The data will tell us where the money is being spent.
Yes,
So when they tell me that there's $800 billion coming in from the fly fishing people, you will tell me what liquor store, a gas station is getting that money?
We would have an idea of
They keep
what,
telling me how much there is, and
so it provides
What?
what type of, by category, what establishment they went to before and where they went after. Did they spend the night? Did they do whatever? So,
It may not be specific, but it'll be.
yeah, it won't give you a number, but it will give you
Right.
a
I-
reliable idea.
right, so. when I mentioned before with Placer AI, the better data comes from some of the larger chains. There are some, I don't wanna call them, there's some weaknesses in our data just due to our population density. Which, because a good amount of what we get from Placer is based off of very good, but sampled data from panels. So, but they also, to that extent, will not provide us information if they feel that there is not enough data to give us what they would call a valid return. So, to an extent, yes, but a complete 110% picture, probably not, but it's a
Somewhere.
it's a good, right, it's a good start, so we can see, you know, demographic data about, we can see the median income for a visitor who is coming and staying overnight in Hancock. I can tell you, you know, if they were at the Bat Factory and then where they went after that. I can give you an average spend per trip. You know, and then based off of each year, I can tell you approximately how many days they stayed. But I can't be like, you know, Uncle Henry went to Speedway and then stayed at his lodge and then.
Everybody
spent-
always talks, you know,
Yeah.
about that particular matter,
Mhm.
and I keep saying. Who got the money, you know, instead of coming to me asking about tourism, maybe you should go find out who got that money and get it from them. But. The jobs that are created by tourism are not wealth building jobs. And the apartments that are built that people live in do not create wealth for the renters. So. I just happen to be more interested in companies locating to Hancock and providing decent jobs that people can buy single family stick built homes or modular homes. Because those things create wealth. I don't see tourism creating wealth among the population that.
It creates wealth for people that cater to service.
Yeah, but,
And then I will also, sorry, did you wanna go ahead?
yeah, what you don't see is, all we keep hearing is this much money, but I don't see any business prospering.
Exactly.
Huge, they're surviving.
Foodor is,
but-
you know, goes blind trying to show me how much money comes in from tourism for the flight people, and I'm like.
Where's it, right, where's it going?
But when you see something like Johnson and Rhodes or Sports Field Specialty shows up in deposits, maybe you can tell me what's going on there, I you can see it.
Yeah, so you don't have to see the numbers, you know.
Tourism should be a part of our economy, but it can't be all of it.
Right, it can't be the core, or, I mean, in some cases, it has to be for now,
Right, but
but.
Yeah, and
Last
then-
words on this, I wanna keep moving forward,
Yeah.
but any last thoughts, and then we'll move on to,
Yes,
go ahead.
go ahead.
so I will put tourism and quality of life for residents side by side. Because people talk about tourism and they say, well, we hate tourists, we don't like any of the, you know, don't like any of this and that. But I would argue that your quality of life as a resident, there are services and businesses that exist for both. For example, diners, restaurants, the fly fishermen, the cannabis stores, like you have residents' quality of life improving with those businesses that are considered tourism businesses.
Right.
I think it's just finding a way to get residents and visitors to support that business so they have a year-round cycle of revenue. And it
I'm
takes,
concerned about the 25 people working at T&A's and the other 25 people that work at the Circle Diner who are not making that kind of money. Their quality of life is not that great, and those are the jobs that are soon to be provided.
Right, but
But what would
Okay,
their,
all right.
this status,
I agree.
One last.
We should talk about it another time.
but the status is if one of the couple has a good paying job, then the other persons can survive on being in the tourism industry.
right,
So you have to have both of them to make it work. If it's just tourism, you don't pay enough to the
No, they
staff.
and it's not full year. Right.
Ag reports.
Ag reports, I am, WAC just rolled out their AEIDP grant, which is due at the end of February. I've had multiple requests to assist and review those applications. There are two other grants out right now that I didn't write down, but they are shared on our Facebook page. I put them out yesterday. Farmers are actively reaching out regarding help on grants, and I am working with CCE on further classes as well as a connection with Treadwell School for a potential, not development, but collaboration between the both of them, CCE and the school as far as space.
Who bought that school? We make it bid them.
Which one?
Federal.
Joe Shaw. $325. Or do I right?
No.
If there was a.
That's an old car, that's 75.
There was a.
How much it cost to run that?
I don't know, it's sell it for $100.
Anyways, that's all I have. For ag.
Electronic,
There's more, but we're doing the abbreviated version.
Yeah.
electronic power.
Interesting.
Yes. Okay, land bank meeting.
So we held a land bank meeting, it was decided that there is potential interest in potentially setting up a potential land bank.
Well, potential.
Yes.
It was, my only response to Glenn afterwards was, wow. It was, okay, you said it, you very succinctly, very nice, good. Okay, land bank.
Simply very nice.
I would have used some other words in there, but that's
Right.
me. Any other old or new business for the IDA?
Wow, that took us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would ask a question, what's happening with the Shire pub?
So they're waiting on their liquor license, hopefully, February 13th. Will be their grand opening.
The good news, they're working on pizza, Hut, so.
Oh, they did start working on it?
I saw them down there.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
okay.
dumpsters
With
are
their
there.
suits, and they were.
What do they do?
0 degrees.
Where's that?
The Pizza Hut.
Former Pizza
Um,
Hut.
Right,
Must be
Yeah.
By the ball fields.
I had a good cup
Right,
of
right by the
coffee.
ball field
I
there.
love Dunkin' Donuts.
And then,
They're building one in the village, well.
right, that's supposed to be the next step after they finish this one.
It's fine, we only have 3 local coffee shops there to take it.
Let's move on to the LDC. Everybody's ready, I think everybody is.
Yeah, do you want me to do the same
Yes,
thing?
please.
Okay, so, I will open up the annual meeting, I would call to order the annual meeting of the Delaware County Local Development Corporation. Our first action of business is election of officers. Unless there is a different idea, I would accept a motion to elect the same slate of officers as for the IDA.
I would second that.
Your
Your first statement, your
Let's bring
motion,
it to second, I'll say.
and Wayne is the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Or, any opposed? All right, motion carried. Now Wayne, it's back to you.
Yeah,
So all the other stuff.
Michelle is ready. Okay, elections are done, draft minutes from December.
Policies are, we already reviewed the policies, but our annual housekeeping resolution under the LDC.
I'll make the motion for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And then we had the board goals, for the LDC as well. Did everybody have a chance to review it, or you want me to go over it?
No. Motion for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Now,
draft minutes.
That's where the 12.
Need a
What
motion,
motion comes in, right? It's an LDC.
yes, LDC, yes.
motion to approve the minutes from December,
So moved.
second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
We pretty much did the financial reports, we also covered the interest rates, or we did
No,
not?
we didn't, so,
So like, if we're getting these loans because we're laws, why don't we just make it our interest is sitting as the balance?
Or tied to an index.
Why don't we just leave it where it is?
okay. So, Lindsay and I put together a proposal, so we're currently at 4%, we review it every year. So we've got multiple options, depending on what you're interested in. Option one is we just raise our interest rate from 4% to 5.5% for 2006, but then we'd have to review it again. Option two is we establish one specific benchmark. CWC uses 1/2 of prime plus one, that's currently 4.375%. They also have a 4% floor and 9% ceiling, I think. Most other IDAs, economic development agencies, use 75% of prime, which would be 5.06, or prime minus one, which would be 5.75. That's easy. Lindsay and I trying to make things a little bit more complicated and maybe address some of the issues that we have with our loan customers. And this is a, for instance, if you wanna think about it, we can do it next meeting, but I'll just to introduce it, or you can do it now. 1/2 of prime plus one, or 4.375% for manufacturing and value-added ag projects or projects that create more than 10 jobs. So for those types of, larger projects or more, you spoke to it, Mike, recently, manufacturing generally pays a higher wage, so there's that benefit. Creating more than 10 jobs at one shot, that's a good project. And value-added agriculture, due to the importance of agriculture, and if I didn't include it, Lindsay would kill me. Then that would be for one segment of customers. Then 75% of prime for projects that include other primary lender. So if we want to incentivize people who are going to banks and make sure that they're going that, if you're financing, I'll just make it easy, $100,000 and 60 of it is coming from a bank, well, then you could get a rate from us for the remainder at 5.6%. But if it's a project, all right, then we'll get down to it. So that kind of incentivizes them being involved with primary lenders. And then slightly higher, prime minus one, for startups of 6 months or less, where traditional financing is unavailable. Still, we would need that denial. And then we would just go to prime for projects where traditional financing is unavailable. So that would, if there is somebody who just, presents us with a valid declination letter that we think is hinky, we could be like, well, okay, that's fine, but we're, the bank was denied you at 8, well, all right, fine, we think, but maybe can't prove that there was hinky, well, 6.75%, maybe that cuts down on the likelihood of pure rate shoppers. Or that rate could be the same as a bank rate, but then we'd have to pick which bank and when and whatever, but but we were trying to still be a incentivizing entity for those that, I'll use the word, are good projects, but also be the lender of last resort for the others. So that's a whole lot, and I know we've been here a long time, so we want to hold over interest rates until February, that's fine by us, right? We've got no. Fine by us.
I think that's worthy of a discussion.
Yeah.
Can you send us that summary?
It was in the packet.
It wasn't there?
Yeah,
I even went through the packet.
yeah.
So it's just a quick thought, but I like prime minus one. If you do 3/4 of prime, it doesn't scale the same. That makes sense.
Yeah, so option 3, so I think that would be best, is let's just hold this over. We'll make sure it's there in February without all this other bullshit that we had to do for this meeting.
If you
It
raise,
can be more
if you
attention.
go and raise the rates, eliminate the declination letter.
No, I don't think so. No, we wanna keep that.
Because prime is what a bank would lend to another bank for.
Well, then, either you're in competing with the banks or you're not.
Not
Prime plus one is gonna be lower than bank rate,
Yes, well, no, prime minus.
or prime minus.
So prime rate is what a bank would borrow at. So it's gonna be better than what you get at a bank.
Yeah, so if prime 6.7, or 6.75, banks are lending around like 7.5, 8.
Right.
You know, so yes, it is still a little lower, but is there that incentive to rate shop us versus a bank for 1%? I mean, maybe in their minds it is, but in reality, they're saving like $16 a month. I mean, come on.
I'm agreeing with making this a later conversation, but are we talking about making the loans variable then?
No,
Or it's
fixed.
No, it's very based on the type of.
Yeah,
property.
fixed at closing.
So, all right,
So, and then we're gonna set them what, quarterly? I mean, it's.
No, it would just float with prime.
Well, with prime,
yeah,
so you would just,
Yeah,
It would adjust
whatever,
for
so we would just have to make sure we're up to speed with what the prime rate is, what they change that every 3 months. So it's only 4 times a year that we really have to worry about changing
They
it.
can do it monthly if they
I
want.
just have
Yeah,
the thing
they
to
won't.
say is that if we go with option one, then it's in the middle of all of these other ones and then we don't navigate back and forth. It's
Yeah.
kind of just a straight.
It's easier, but is it trying to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish?
We just have to
It's
be more
Incentive,
strict.
it's not just that though, it's incentivizing. So I think having the lower rate for good projects is good and that is
I
our mission.
agree, yeah. that's-
And, but so I think, yes, it makes it more complicated for us, but it is a public demonstration of what our goals for projects are.
it's.
Is that
market.
these are the ones we really are excited about. These other ones, yes, we understand capital can be difficult at times, and we are here to support you, but not to be your primary go-to kind of thing.
Needs a lot more thought.
I think so.
Yeah.
And you know, I left option 4 as there's those 4 different interest rates, or it could be 1, 2, 3, based on different benchmarks that you guys had, so.
I think we need to keep it. But,
Yeah, I agree, said it's simple.
well, but I like tying it to an index, cause then we aren't getting screwed on the interest rate with a floor.
Are we supposed to not be screwed on the interest rate? I mean, what is our mission?
Right, is job creation, that's why I thought having a low rate for
job creator.
job creators.
And then what do you do if they don't create the jobs?
We have to follow up, but we need to do a better job of that doing, that's why
We
we're,
have to
I
do
think
that.
this is building up on everything, you know. We are asking these people to report now,
Yeah.
and so, you know, we've already talked about adding in language into our loan documents for the annual reporting, so we can put in there our clauses of on default that if you don't make your job creation requirements, you know, we could call the loan or the rate increases to, you know, whatever our highest
Yeah,
rate is.
I would say you default to a peg rate.
Your higher, yeah, default to what our higher rate is.
From the banking side, that would have to be disclosed up front.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't know if we do, but.
Yeah, no, I
Think
would do it
about
too,
this,
because again, we're trying
I'm a
to.
Mike supporter, this
Yeah.
4%.
This is, we got to stew on this one.
Alright, let's stew on,
Okay.
because
You're
there's,
taking on a lot of work.
yes, but in the end, I think it will make things much easier for Lindsay to manage. And I think it will decrease, you know, maybe we don't do prime for rate shop, you know, I mean, cause. The fact of the matter is anybody can go to it, if you're a good customer of a bank and you go to your bank and say, look, I need you to give me a letter that says no. Then I can go to these
That's
guys.
never happened, Clint.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, but
And we know.
Maybe you had
Injected humor.
2 years ago, before your situation changed and you're actually running a profitable business.
but you could easily get a denial by us not providing all your information and then.
Or asking too
you
much.
have to then-
Okay, let's talk interest rates in February in detail.
Yeah.
And that'll be a longer discussion, obviously.
Higher, yeah, it just doesn't matter which one.
I mean, but, you know, we have the question, they said 10 jobs, well, they only created 9, now we're gonna penalize them because they didn't get that job.
We would never give away our discretion. We would never give away our discretion.
But if you look at this is very cut and dry, if you look at the loans that we funded in the last year, I mean, there were one handful of loans that I feel were a huge drive to the job creation aspect in lending. And the rest of them were mom and pop or those that couldn't obtain traditional financing, or if they could, it was a very low amount and they needed to supplement the rest.
But those both are our mission area.
And that's where the 70 jobs came in that we came to was there was 2 businesses that hired enough and the rest of them were 5 servers here, 6 servers here, a dishwasher here. Those are the jobs that we can't just exclude and we have to include, but somehow we just have to get more of them.
Cause the nature of the watershed is that things like mill and prod are probably not gonna repeat themselves.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, so you got Posset, Hancock, Sidney. Those are the 3 developmental areas for a larger industry, if larger industry is what we're looking for.
And
Everything else in the watershed is a bar restaurant operation.
Right, but. Yeah, but you still get the one-offs, you know, and I'm not, you know, sucking up to Ed and Wayne, but you do have the sports field specialties that goes from 8 to 220. You know, they deserve the lowest rate we are willing to provide.
Right.
Agreed.
Okay, so hold your thoughts for the next meeting, and I'm just gonna keep, sorry. I just gotta keep moving, this is, the last time we talked about this, we had a similar conversation, we just have to decide what the majority wants. And that'll be what Mike and I want, obviously, but, just kidding, so let's move on.
A little quicker on you over there, right? You're
East Branch Holdings, we're gonna do an affirmation vote of the, email.
Yeah, so for the email votes, we had in no particular order, Chris, Ed, Wayne, Florida, and Noel were yeses. Mike and Scott were no. Yeah, I don't think you ever gave a response, but we need 5 for approval and we had 5 from email from Chris, Ed, Wayne, Florida, and Noel.
yes.
So we need a motion to approve the vote that has already occurred. Would anyone like to make that motion?
so moved.
Second?
I'll say.
All right.
If I didn't.
I thought you did.
Now's your chance.
I thought you were the first one, but all in favor,
First one to reply to say
something.
You're nuts.
you would talk, you are open to talking.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you. Other old new business for LDC?
No.
Okay, we're all good. We'll adjourn that meeting and we'll move on to the Delaware County Capital Resource Corporation. In the meeting.
Alright, so same things before I open up the annual meeting for the Delaware Capital Resource Corporation. And would entertain a motion to elect the same slate of officers as the IDA.
Re-elect the existing city.
I'll second it.
Is that different than the IDA or is that the same?
The.
Yeah,
I think we did the same.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
the same, yeah, okay, I just wanted to. Yeah, okay. So we've got a motion, do we have a second?
Yeah, I think.
Alright, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Alright, motion carried.
Keep going,
Up to you.
keep going.
Okay.
The resolution and your other.
Oh, yeah, so the annual resolution, so the policy review, with the change to the IRS reimbursement rate. Any questions or comments on the annual resolution?
No, so moved.
Okay, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Review of board goals and self-evaluation for the Capital Resource Corporation, a motion please.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. We had no financials, there was no financial activity in the corporation and nothing to report.
What's this pen
Move
point?
to adjourn.
What? I don't know.
We'll have a second on the move to adjourn.
See that movie?
I'll second that.
There you go.
All in favor?
Nice group of you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Thank you for the patience. Appreciate it.